True Story Media.
Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Hey guys, it's me, Javier. First of all, Happy New Year. Today's episode is going to be a little different. It's an Ask Me Anything. It's all about the making of pretend. And I had a few listeners across social media and Patreon submit questions for me about what they want to know about behind the scenes, some stories, what's coming up next. And we did this AMA live on YouTube. The live part was a bit of a disaster, but we got it working. And it was co-hosted by my listener, Katie Watson, who's a Patreon supporter. Katie, I asked her out of the blue, I said, hey, would you like to be my co-host? And she stepped up to the plate and she did a fantastic job. So I hope you enjoy this little behind the scenes episode and stay tuned for next week when we start our brand new series. It's a psychic sting, actually several psychic stings, including some of the undercover sitters were actually Patreon supporters of this show. It's a wild series, has lots of twists and turns. I hope you enjoy it, but take a listen to this episode. Let me know what you think. If you have any more questions, shoot me an email, send me something on social media. I'll answer it. All right, let's play the show. Woohoo! We got this working. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but hopefully you can see us. Sorry about this. I obviously suck at lives, but now that we have a party going, yes, this thing is on. Jerry Williams, thank you for coming. Rebecca, I'm so glad you're here. We got to talk, by the way. And Jess, nice to see you. Canito, you're a rock star. Mary Beth, who am I forgetting? Christine. Anyways, thank you guys for coming, and sorry for the technical difficulties. You might be wondering, who is this person next to me? Well, this is Katie Watson, who is a Patreon supporter. I want to do this more often and hopefully with less technical hiccups, but where I invite a Patreon supporter to come and join me and do a live episode. I'm trying to do a lot of reaction episodes too, where we play the actual episode and then we have a reaction to it. And I want to invite my Patreon supporters. Well, anyways, Katie, thank you for coming. I said this in the fake live that we had earlier because Katie and I were
three fake.
Yeah, but Katie is from California and she has a beautiful British accent, so she's going to make this episode so much more classy than it is. But this, by the way, Katie, this was all Jessica Sarlo's idea. She's a listener, and she's like, "Why don't you do a live AMA?" And so, Jessica, this is all your fault. But so, Katie, tell me, before we get started, tell me how long have you been listening to Pretend? When did you discover the show?
Yeah, I'm a long-time listener, first-time co-host. I think I heard of it through the Something Was Wrong podcast. But I do listen to Pretend a lot. So yeah, I started listening to that. I think I am actually pre-Stalker fan, I think. But I have definitely obviously listened to The Stalker, and I recommended it to my mum, and then I joined the Patreon because of The Stalker, and I really wanted to find out what was happening, and I was trying to send her links, but it wasn't working, so she could get the episodes early and everything.
I'm so glad you discovered the show, and so it's Stalker, and I just realized I'm on the screen twice. Don't worry, it's just double the fun, you know. But if you've been listening to the Stalker, that's been a few years now. It's such a standout story that like people still ask me about that all the time. I get like the same stories. People ask me the same questions. So the reason why we're here is because you're going to ask me a bunch of questions that you have, but then also that we pulled from social media, from Patreon. Listeners were asking questions. A lot of them are really, really good questions. So ask away.
Okay, so the first question, I'll just go for it. It's from user Never Have I Had the Urge. Hey Javier, how do you know when a story is really about something deeper and not just an interesting event?
That's actually a really good question, because half the time I'm working on a story, I don't know if it's a viable story. I always tell people it's like a fishing expedition. So I'm casting a lot of nets, or like a lot of lines, right? And I never know which story is going to bite. And I'll just give you an example. My wife and I were at a comedy show last night. We were waiting for the comedian, and I checked my notification, and I got a message from this guy. And he's like, "Sure, I'll talk to you." And I'm like, "Who the heck is this guy?" And so I messaged this guy months ago, and now he's responding. And I'm like, "What story was that?" And so I'm constantly looking for stories. So the first trick is like getting them to bite, right? Getting somebody to talk to me, and then getting a well-rounded story, right? Like, I don't like to just talk to one person. I like to talk to a lot of people. And that's when I know that a story works, because now I got both sides talking to me. And I feel very uncomfortable anytime I approach a story with only one side, because I just feel like it's gonna blow up in my face.
Yeah, well, I think that's what a lot of the listeners really appreciate about your approach, is that you do. Sure, sometimes you might seem a bit biased one way or another, or have your own, ideas, but you do go really deep and like present all sides, and you put in like way more effort than lots of people do, and then just churn out podcasts, and you're just like, he's really trying to cover all the bases. So I think it's definitely one of the many reasons that people like the show. And then that kind of
I do struggle with the whole bias thing, by the way, because I grew up, I went to school, journalism school, and they told us never show any emotions. Never, like, if you're interviewing somebody, this is a human reflex, right? Like, if somebody's talking to you, you shake your head, right?
I'm doing it right now.
You shake your head, but that's showing that you're agreeing with them. That's what they taught us, that you can't even like nod your head, because it shows that you're biased. And so, like, I came from a school of thought where it was just like, you cannot ever show how you feel about a story. And like, I just feel like journalism has changed, and it's a little freeing to let my own opinions show every now and then. Not that I'm not trying to like, preach to anybody. It's not like MSNBC or Fox News or whatever, but I'm human. I have opinions, and I just think the world of journalism has kind of changed. So I changed too.
But also just like the whole podcast, just the way podcasts are now. And, you can make them and update them with new information almost as soon as you get it. So, and there's been examples where you've kind of said something and then you found out later more information or whatever. And then you're just like, hey, here's an update, blah, blah, blah. So, and also people are listening to podcasts not just for kind of investigations, unbiased, just the facts. You want to be entertained as well. So
right.
I think having a host with, a bit more of a personal opinion sometimes is quite refreshing. I was going to go on to a question from Rhodes, which was, how do you get people to talk to you, and how do you build that trust? Yeah,
that's a tricky one. I wish I knew the answer to that question. I think it's a real case-by-case basis. You try, when you approach somebody, like right now, I'm doing a story, my next series that comes out next week. It's about psychics, and
cool.
We did these undercover stings with some of my Patreon supporters. Rebecca, which I know you're watching, Rebecca was part of the sting, and so I felt like I couldn't do the story without talking with the psychics, right?
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, as of this moment, I have not successfully spoken to the psychic. So this is just
you're going to say spoiler alert, they're not real.
But no, I'm just saying, like, well, that too. But no, but what I wanted to say was that I have not spoken with a psychic, so that's proof that I can't reach everyone, right? Like, I can't always, with 100% success rate, right, get who I want to talk to. But as I approach the psychic, I have to ask myself, what would make the psychic want to talk to me, right? And there's different approaches, right? So you could say, hey, listen, I'm running the story anyway. so it might benefit you to get your side of the story out. Or I could say, hey, there's nothing wrong with being a psychic. You're not, people are paying you. They're willingly participating in this. I have to come down to their level, make it seem acceptable for them to want to talk to me. And I'm just using the psychic as an example because that's just the most recent example. But I was on a call, and you'll hear this in this new series where I did a cold call to one of the psychic's assistant, and you get to hear the psychic's assistant. In fact, you get to hear the whole process of me going from they were really alarmed that I called, right? Very cautious about what they were saying, to the point where I could break them down, and we were chit-chatting towards the end of the call, right? And so if I could get that person to talk to me and we just engage like real people, and I let them let their guard down, then my success rate of getting them to talk to me on the record goes up.
Well, hopefully that psychic's assistant still has their job after having been so free with you. So Kristen Lloyd asked, what spiked your interest in these types of stories? Or was it a personal scammer story, maybe?
Well, this is a story that I say a lot, so I don't really want to rehash the whole thing, but I have no fascination with con artists. This is not something that I ever really thought about before this podcast. The whole concept of the show came from my cousin when I was starting the podcast. He was getting ready to go to federal prison, and I knew that he had gotten into a lot of trouble, but I didn't know why. And so I asked him, I said, hey, what got you into this mess? And he told me the whole thing, from car insurance fraud all the way to medical fraud. And it left me with my jaw on the floor. So I was like, yeah, that's what the show's about. But I have learned that I have a very low tolerance for people who lie. I really, really don't like liars. It really bugs me. I remember we once had a contractor come to the house to do some work on the house, and he would just lie all the time. He showed me his work. We were renovating the bathroom, and he was showing me pictures of his work. And one of the bathtubs, I was looking at it, was beautiful. It had a picture window in the background with mountains, and the bathtub was this beautiful egg. And I'm like, where's the plumbing? It was oh, this is an AI picture. He's trying to sell me an AI picture, and that was his work.
Oh, God. Man, and then it's reality, and it's just a horrible broken egg.
I just cannot stand people that lie or try to pull a fast one on you. And so I was do you know who I am? I have a podcast about people just like you.
I mean, if you run out of ideas, you could maybe hit him back up and see what kind of stuff he's posting. Well, that goes into a question from Sydney Linney, which was, how did the podcast change your relationship with your cousin, and how's his life been after prison?
Oh, I love this question because, I do have a good relationship with my cousin. I just saw him recently, actually, in November. I went down to Miami, and he's doing fine as far as I could tell, in terms of, he's had some health problems, but in terms of criminal behavior, as far as I know, he's left that part of him behind him, and he's become an entrepreneur. He has his own business and has become pretty successful. So I really love that, right? And that's part of the mission of the show, is to show that people could make mistakes, people could commit crimes, but we have to allow people room to change, to grow, to improve their lives, and I don't think that we talk about that a lot as a society.
Okay. So I was going to ask about, if you're talking about sort of your personal life, don't know how to say this. Agata Volpe 88 says, how do you balance all the journalistic research to get episodes out while balancing another job and personal life?
Yeah, that's
you're
tough.
A busy guy.
Back in last November, I got laid off from my job, and I freaked out. But then I was like, this is a great opportunity. I'll just be a full-time podcaster. But, it's tough being a full-time podcaster. So I found this new job. It was an awesome opportunity. I'm actually leading a podcast YouTube studio. You would think that I would do a better job at live. We don't do live. But I produce podcasts for brands and for people who want to build their own personal brand. And
Okay.
so that's kind of fun. So like I couldn't pass up that opportunity. So I do have a full-time job and I have the podcast. And so I'm constantly working. I work all day, all night, all weekends. I mean, it's exhausting, but I always tell people that it's a little bit more fun than it is work, you know? And so that's what kind of keeps
So
me
you actually
going.
want to do it rather than being like,
Yeah.
once again.
Yeah. I hope soon that I could do it full time, but it's tough, you know? It's really,
Yeah.
there are some content creators that make tons of money and could live off of it, but not there yet, but working on it.
Yeah, well, you definitely deserve to be, because you also have 2 other podcasts that you do.
And I kind of put those 2 podcasts on hold right now just because of that question. I've been so busy. You know, it's really hard to juggle. And the more that I add to my plate, I feel like the quality goes down and I'm not, although I love Ponzi Playbook and I love criminal conduct. You know, criminal conduct is so intense. It takes a
Yeah, it's
whole
very
year
detailed.
of reporting to make one season, to make like 6 to 10 episodes. It's nuts. It's more work than pretend. And then Ponzi Playbook is less work and a lot more fun. I just do Ponzi Playbook because it's my excuse to hang out with my friend Neil, you know, and it's
When you
just a
two
lot
are
of fun.
having
But
a giggle. It's really good. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
and
Oh, I do have a
we-
question about Ponzi Playbook,
Yeah.
though, from me. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just about the theme tune. I was just wondering, like, did your kids play the theme tune?
Oh, that little
such an epic-
that one, that song. No, it's from some stock music site, but I loved it. It sounded so silly.
It was so
and
funny. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, because when my sister and I were growing up, like we played the clarinet and flute, and my parents or my mum would like wheel us out, you know, when their friends were around. We had to do a little duet for them or whatever, and I was
Yeah.
like, this sounds like someone playing the violin and someone playing the clarinet being forced to play
it just
this
sounded-
duet.
I don't know why we chose that song, but it was something about it. You know, when you hear it, you're just like, this is it. You know, I don't know why.
Okay, it's a good one.
Yeah, thank you. But people, can I say that people hated the criminal conduct theme song? If you
Oh,
go
I
to
can't remember
Apple,
that off the top of my head.
oh my God, if you go to the Apple podcast reviews, it's like, love the show, hate the theme song, hate the theme song, hate the theme
Oh,
song. That was every
no.
review. And I'm like, we got that theme song from an artist named Ruby Rose Fox.
Oh
and
yeah, I remember it now. Yeah.
she's such an amazing
I like it.
singer. And I was like, her music, by the way,
I know what it is now.
I think is fantastic. So maybe we just have different tastes of music. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Isn't it something about burying somebody or something? I
Oh,
can't
that
remember
one
now.
is called Bury the Body, but she is
That's it.
fantastic.
I think it's
Yeah.
good.
I like
Definitely.
it. So, you know what?
But
It's
it's
just
no
a theme
Ponzi
song.
Playbook theme tune, I'll say
That's true. Yeah.
that. Okay, let's move on to... okay, this is a bit of a heavier subject. Joe Rocco, out of all the people you've done stories on, which one are you most afraid of attempting physical harm? I presume on you.
Wow. So, you know, I get that a lot. Like, people must think that I'm like in danger all the time.
Yeah.
And I hope not. But the one that scared the living daylights out of me was The Pests.
Oh,
Because
God, yeah. Oh.
that was a series about gang stalking, and
I didn't even want to comment on those episodes. So I was
yeah,
like, man.
I was just like, stay away,
Yeah.
stay away. Like, don't. And so I remember that my wife. I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast. Maybe I have. I don't know. But I remember I'd let my wife listen to the episodes. It was like three episodes, and we both agreed. We're like, this is not worth it. We should never release these episodes. And I go, well, maybe if I just release it on Patreon. Like, they're not on my Patreon. I released it on Patreon, went on vacation, and I wanted to unplug. And so I did not check my phone. But then I snuck a peek in the middle of my vacation, and I saw that they had downloaded the episodes from Patreon. They somehow like hacked Patreon and ripped the files and
Maybe they
published
just paid
it on there.
$3.
Maybe one of them paid me $3 and they posted it on their forum, and they were calling me all kinds of terrible things, and they had found my house and they had found everything about me, and I was so nervous. But thank God they actually liked my show. They liked the episodes. So
That's the thing. That's your like
Yeah.
balanced approach, because they came across as like, you know, oh hey, yeah, that dude just won't let it go kind of thing, like, you know.
That was one of those stories where there was no likable characters. There was nobody to root for in that series. And, you know, I think that was a good lesson to when I approach a story, I think you have to be able to root for somebody, right? And in that case, it annoyed people because they're like, both sides are terrible, you know? Like, yeah.
Although I will say, thinking about it, I can't really think of that many examples of people to root for in your, because you normally like pick some antagonist and then talk about what they're doing. There's not normally like, you know, a hero type person. Well, and going on from that, it says Mrs. Page, PhD, friend. I don't know if that's her title or if she's actually a friend, but it says, what's the status with LaDonna? I'm dying for an update.
You know, I wish I had more to tell you other than, for the most part, I feel like she's laying low. I have, every time there was something significant, I've done an episode about it. There are some things, actually, now that I think about it. LaDonna, I'm not accusing you, LaDonna, but I highly suspect that you're the one that signed me up for all those daily Bible verses, and also gay bears, which I learned that bears, did you know that's a subset of the gay community? Yeah, I get their magazine now. Oh. I get all kinds of stuff on a daily basis. And it's just your way of saying that you're thinking of me. And I appreciate that. So
daily bears and daily Bible verses.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I said unsubscribe, but she does this. I mean, I'm not saying you do this, LaDonna, but other people who have had interactions with you also receive emails, unwanted emails.
But I think they made it sound a lot worse than you make it sound funny. But theirs were a bit more. A bit more threatening.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of stuff doesn't bother Bible bears. But actually, this, and I'll tell you guys this, and I hesitate to say this because anytime I talk about these people, it just like gives them attention, and then they like do something else. So, but it is so funny because you know that David McClam, he's one of LaDonna's surrogates. He had a whole podcast devoted to reacting to my podcast. And even after my podcast was done, this man continued to do his podcast. And he said that he released the final episode. And so, of course, I'm like, okay. Most of the time, I just read the transcripts. But he said that he wrote a country AI song. He used an AI tool to create a country, not a country song, a country album, multiple songs about the whole... about the whole like Who's Afraid of LaDonna Humphrey series, and it was so bad. Oh, I really like I hate like now you guys are gonna go check it out or give them downloads. It is so bad.
Oh man, I really
and then LaDonna, like one other thing with LaDonna is that she's still running a lot of Facebook groups, you know, about different cases. So she's still out there trying to get, you know, involved in a bunch of cases, but nothing newsworthy. It sounds like everything's like cool for right now.
Okay. But Easter's coming up again, you know, she might have another another Easter party thing.
Those Easter egg hunts, just stay away from the dog part.
Oh yeah. picking up the wrong little chocolates.
Avoid the brown Easter eggs. Yeah.
Okay, this is from Matt's Collectibles, and I saw this one on Instagram. He actually asked it 3 times, but it's the same question. He said, have you heard anything from Frank Abagnale, who he called Frank Abigail, but I presume he meant Frank Abagnale.
He meant Frank Abagnale.
Yeah, so have you heard anything back from him?
Yeah, so actually, no. I never heard from Frank Abagnale other than that one email that I sent him that his people replied, and then that one time that I met him in person that I did that ambush interview. Other than that, I've never heard directly from him. He was speaking at the same event that I was invited to speak at, and then he had a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, so mysteriously couldn't make it anymore.
But that's it. Yeah, no, I haven't heard from old Frank in a while. I know that he's done a couple speeches here and there, but it has significantly dropped. His live speaking gigs have significantly dropped since the series came out.
Okay.
And I'm still waiting for somebody to do the sequel to Catch Me If You Can, because that would be a really cool movie.
What, with the actual real story? I don't know.
Yeah, with the real story.
Like all meta. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm just trying to think how that would work. But I also, because I write for a YouTuber who has various channels on YouTube, and I actually contacted you. I don't know if you remember, it was me, because I write for a channel called Decoding the Unknown, and I really wanted to also cover because when I heard the story, I was just like, oh my god, how do people not know this? And I was like, can I do this story? I hope you don't think I'm just ripping you off. And you're like, no, this story is like public domain kind of thing. So I got my research, obviously, like from your research, because you did so much. I was like, I'm not going to ambush this guy, but I can say that someone else did. And so when the host is Simon Whistler, when he was reading it out, he was like, oh, Javier Leiva actually went and met Frank. He was like, yes, Javier, yes.
Oh, you were the one that wrote something about that. That was cool. So,
and I think that was quite a popular video. So
I remember that. Yeah, it was a very popular video. That's really cool. And I love that other people are taking the baton and running with it.
Yeah.
I know, and I love that. I don't think that there's any ownership here, right? Like,
no,
I think that
was it. You said ownership, but I think what everyone agrees is that Catch Me If You Can is a really good movie, and that it can just be a movie on its own. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's a great movie. But this guy just lying his entire life, and everyone's just like, oh, okay. And when you start to think about it for a second, you're like, hang on a minute, this doesn't sound right. But yeah. Okay, so we can go on now to one from Eklin. I don't know if that's how you say it, but anyway, she says, or they say, after covering so many scam stories, what's one red flag that you now notice instantly that you totally used to miss before you started this work? Has working on these stories changed the way you think about trust in your own life at all?
All right, so I don't know about a red flag. I have become a little bit more cynical. Like I question things a lot more now. So like, especially if somebody is overly generous or something like that, like I always like, that's a red flag. But I don't want to sound that cynical. I have not lost my faith in humanity. In fact, I don't know if you know this from my podcast, and I think that this is what makes me really successful, is that I am so gullible. I believe everything.
I do as well. I'll just believe it until
somebody told me,
and then I'm like, oh yeah.
Somebody told me about a left-handed hammer once, and I totally believed them. And so I haven't lost that side of me, which I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but I think that's what makes me curious, because then I'm gullible, so I listen to whatever the story that somebody's telling me, but then I go back and check, Yeah. So I'm not gullible and just dumb.
Exactly. Except
I'm gullible and
verified.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Well, when you did the telepathy tapes, I think that was a really good example. That was, I mean, that kind of thing is so interesting, because you like present the telepathy thing and you're like, okay. And also in an audio format, it was kind of a bit hard to wrap your head around exactly what was happening. Yeah. But you're like, wow, okay, this seems really interesting. And how is this happening? And then when you actually explain what's going on with the kids and the parents, whether subconsciously or, or consciously, you're like, oh, okay, this is obviously not what we originally thought. But yeah, you kind of want to believe it at the beginning, because you're just like, wow, this is like such a breakthrough if it's real.
Well, you want to believe, and I can still watch those videos and be in awe. And I'm like, how is that possible? But it's like a magic trick, right? Because I've seen magic tricks before. I've seen women getting sawed in half, and I know that they didn't get sawed in half. But it appears real, and when something, like that, I don't know, have you seen this Oz Perlman, this like mentalist that he's going around all the talk shows now, like reading people's, he does telepathy or like, but he's a mentalist, right? So he's telling you that he doesn't really have powers, but he could, like, he guessed Joe Rogan's ATM PIN code, and he does all these things, and it just seems impossible that somebody could do that, but you know it's a trick. And I think that what the telepathy tapes didn't put out there was that, hey, this is not like ironclad. Like there are other ways to explain this phenomenon. And so like I felt like I called it the telepathy tapes B-side because I felt like they were so biased on one side. Yeah. I wanted to overcorrect and like be biased on the other side. So I don't know. I mean, it was a good series, and I enjoyed listening to it.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I was going to go back and look at. I can't remember who it was now. Who was that guy with like that box that he could detect? Dead remains.
With the
It was just like some box. He was going around saying that they could detect
the gizmo, or was it
DNA?
What was it called?
Or something.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
What? You're just flying around, and you could put like a hair in the box or something, and then it would like find the rest of it. Like, what about the people sitting in the car with you that are related to that person?
Why did it find like the mom that was right there? I forgot.
So weird.
It had a really funny name, that box, but I forgot what it was. But I mean, but here's what sucks about it, and it's kind of like what you'll hear in this new series with the psychics, is that these are people whose profession is to profit off of grieving families, right? And so like when you're grieving and you want to find your dead loved one's remains, you'll put a lot of stock into a lot of things that you probably normally wouldn't. When you're talking to a psychic and they're saying, your dead mother or grandmother just stepped into the room, and you could have one more time to talk to them.
You want you want to believe it.
Yeah.
So I was cleaning out my closet last week, and I realized that half of my winter stuff is just not cutting it anymore. Let's be real. You know that feeling. Like, this coat looked great 2 years ago, but now it's pilling everywhere. And that sweater that cost way too much money is falling apart. So I hit up my go-to website for clothing, Quince. They've got all the essentials: Mongolian cashmere sweaters, wool coats, leather, suede, outerwear, you name it. But the difference is, I find that this stuff actually holds up to daily wear and still looks good. Everything is made from premium materials by trusted factories, and they have rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production. And because they cut out the middleman and traditional markups, you're getting the same quality as a luxury brand at a fraction of the price. So let's do it. Let's update our wardrobe for 2026. I just recently picked up a wool coat from Quince. I keep getting compliments, and honestly, it looks good, it keeps me warm, and I didn't have to drop a fortune on it. So refresh your winter wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/pretendpod, one word, for free shipping on your order and a 365-day return. And now it's available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/pretendpod.
Okay, so Erin McCulley, fine art. Oh, also friend. She said your stories deal with manipulation and obfuscation as a core feature. So how or when are you satisfied that you know what the truth is?
I guess you'd never know. I always wonder about this too, okay? Because I have, not only am I gullible, but I also have terrible memory. And so like, I always wonder if somebody made a documentary or like a podcast about something in my life, I don't think I could remember all those details. Like sometimes I'm talking with people, I'm interviewing them, and I'm like, how do you remember all this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, and so I don't know that anything that I've put out in the world is 100% accurate the way it was, but it's the way people remembered it. And so I figured if you talk to enough people and then you start getting overlapping stories, and maybe there's some truth to that. If you get this one-off story that nobody else remembered, then I might drop that part out. So I'm trying to present the best version of the truth that I can.
And also, I mean, this format, this is the same with a lot of other podcasts as well, especially like true crime ones. You don't necessarily get... you're not the investigator in the case. You're just kind of presenting the case, and you can make up your own. You're not going to be the one that solves an unsolved thing necessarily. So people aren't So everyone's there to just hear about the story, and then you can go and find out more about it if you want to or whatever. But so in some ways it doesn't necessarily matter, what the truth is, because you're not saying this, you're not calling someone
Right.
out in particular or whatever. So
Yeah, and then I'm also like using public records to corroborate certain things. So like if you pull up a police report that was written at the time, like the stalker is a great example of that, because a lot of the stories were Tanya and Rick telling me what happened, but then I could pull a police record, and so I also have not just the detective, but whoever the officer was that responded at the scene, and they have to write down what they remember. And so like, you're building this tapestry and you're hoping that it's sort of kind of real, right? Or
Yeah.
sort of kind of accurate.
yeah, I mean, what else can you do? Like if you
Yeah.
have but then you can, that way, especially with the Stalker series, then you kind of start to see how, like, Tanya, for example, might have been
Oh yeah.
totally fabricating stuff right from the start and everything. You're like, oh my god, yeah, that
It was in my best interest to keep her talking and to keep them. I hope that I'd never presented myself like as I was on their side, but I wanted to maintain a really good relationship with them
Yeah.
as long as I could, because I know that the more they talk, the more like data that I'm collecting, and I tried to keep the charades as long as I could. I think it was episode 6 or something where they realized, that this was not going the way they wanted it to.
But they
and
came
so
to you with that story, right?
Yeah.
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 So, and you just, were like, okay, I'll look into it. So I don't know that they could say, oh, you're supposed to be on our side, because they were the ones that, like, I don't think they should have done that.
I'm always amazed at the people that want to talk to me. I'm like, have you ever listened to an episode of my show? Like before, and this is free advice, okay, guys? If you're ever invited on a podcast, make sure to listen to 1 or 2 episodes of that podcast to see what you're getting yourself into. I feel like a lot of the people I talk to have no idea. Like they just kind of talk to me, and I think that this is part of my interview technique. I try to have a very loosey-goosey interview. It's not structured. I want it to sound like a conversation so that they forget that they're being interviewed. Because if you think you're being interviewed, you're going to be kind of rehearsed and cautious and guarded about what you say. But if you feel like you're having a conversation, I end up getting a lot more information that way,
I'll say the one most shocking part of the Stalker series for me was hearing you say the C word when I was not expecting it. Because you were reading out all the texts and stuff, and I was just like, no, oh my god.
I mean, and that was challenging.
I was not expecting that.
Well, I know, and I try not to cuss or anything like that, but like, I just couldn't paint the picture of how graphic and juvenile and disgusting the texts were, because you can't see it. It's a podcast. So I had to read it, and I didn't feel like any of the threats or the texts were that scary, but they were definitely really immature.
They were. They must be
needed,
like super embarrassing to read.
Yeah, but I needed people to understand that, because this Tanya and Rick Fernandez are also kind of cheesy, and so like the text kind of matched their cheesiness, like I don't think a real, like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like the language was realistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so let's carry on. Okay.
By the way, Katie is doing a great job, everybody.
I can read.
Yeah, no, she's doing an awesome job. Like, I didn't know Katie, like 24 hours ago, like we've only like messaged on Patreon, but you're doing a great job. So round of applause.
Okay, well, I'll put in one of my questions then. I was just going to say, what's
definitely.
your hair care routine? Because you're well known for having nice hair.
My hair, oh man, it is so long right now. Like I skipped the hair. My hair guy, he books out like a month in advance, and I had to cancel an appointment. So now I'm just sporting the long hair. So like my hair routine is like, hey, whatever works. I don't know. Like
you look kind of like an anime character or something at the moment. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll keep the long hair for the winter, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Callie Queen, which is not me. 805 says, what has been the biggest challenge in doing the pod? Research, phone, Zoom calls, editing? I will add YouTube lives.
It's not one of those things is super taxing, It's like all those things, and they don't all happen at once. It's not like Mondays I'm doing interviews and Tuesdays I'm like editing, and it's just, I don't know. I just have this rhythm now. I just figure it out, and I don't know. I just, you know what I tell people? I make use of, and this applies to anybody, right? So like not even podcasters, make use of every available 30-minute that you have. Like, let's say you have meetings back to back, but then you have like a 30-minute gap here and there. Make use of that time. You know, don't just like brain rot on social media.
God.
Like try to do something. Like I'll write a paragraph.
I need to take your advice. I'm so
Yeah, because it's hard in a creative field. Sometimes because I'm telling stories. My favorite part of the job, maybe this is the question, is forming the story, like the story structure, trying to figure out where the cliffhangers are, or like I want the stories to be twisty, you know, and I always love trying to figure that out, right? Like switching the order, and so that's what I find really fun. And sometimes when you're in a creative field, you need, and if you're a writer, if you're an author or whatever, you need like a lot of time to get mentally in the headspace to be creative. But I don't have the luxury of doing that because like you said, I have a job, I have a family, I have the podcast. I just figure out a way of like instantly like just get it done in 30 minutes and then move on to something else. I don't know. I guess I've conditioned myself.
Well, that's really good. Okay, well then that goes into a question from Erin McCulley, fine art friend again, who I've got a little chat thing that I think she's in, and I don't know what. It's just like some random. I don't even know where I am. But anyway, she says, once you know what the truth is, how do you balance crafting a story which has twists and reveals with not blatantly lying to or manipulating the audience to keep them guessing? So that's like how you structure it.
That's kind of like what I was saying earlier, is that like there's a couple ways of saying a joke, right? Like you could tell a joke and it could be like set a punchline and then the joke is over, or you could tell a joke with that kind of slowly unfolds, but you anticipate that punchline. You know, I feel like that's what I'm doing. And so like I just think it would be really boring if you knew the end from the get-go, you know, like I remember in Criminal Conduct, because Criminal Conduct is a great example of this. And I actually had taught a class earlier this year for podcasters that want to do true crime stories about how to structure a series, right? Because it's different. Like when you structure an episode, you have to create a plot within that episode, or maybe 2 episodes, you got to create a plot, but for like 10 episodes, you have to make sure each episode has a plot, but then you have to make sure the whole season, that arc, builds to something, you know? Because how many of you in chat have you listened to a really great true crime podcast, and then towards the end it just kind of fizzles, you know? And I'd never want that, right? Like, so I want to make sure that it actually builds as it's going on. And so I remember with season 1 of Criminal Conduct, we got a 911 call that to me was like the bombshell. It was, we never said that we think that the Eli's son was responsible for Eli's murder, but that phone call was so revealing, and so that we intentionally left that 911 call to the very end. Because I just think that if you heard that at the beginning, you wouldn't care about any of the rest of the story. You know, like you said earlier, I think it has to be entertaining, but also in order to hear the details of the story, you can't know how it ends. I don't know.
Yeah, that one was an interesting story because I guess it was because he was a minor. You did not say it, but in what you didn't say, it was quite clear where it was pointing. And I was just like, man, that's a sad
I would love
story.
to do a follow-up to that season, by the way, because I feel like I just didn't get the answers that I wanted. And by the way, in chat, people are talking about the olive lady, the Maury Povich olive lady. I love that made it into chat, that's an episode that you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed it too, because it was just so silly. But that just proves that you don't need this crazy dramatic story to tell something.
I can't remember that one. What was that one?
That was the lady from the Maury Povich show, where there was a jar. She was afraid of olives.
Oh yeah.
And they brought a jar of olives, and she freaked out. And the fact that I was able to make a whole episode about that was, I was impressed. But
Okay, so Maureen Tarr says, I get nervous sometimes for you when some of your subjects affecting your real life. How does your family feel about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my wife probably wishes she would have married like an accountant or or somebody with like a really boring job, you know. But she met me as a journalist, and like I think she understands, even though this is like a very different world that what she was used to. So she understands this. The kids, they don't even think it's cool. Like they're just like whatever, you know.
Oh, Dad, you doing that podcast again?
Yeah. And I just try to keep it. Honestly, I try to keep it out of my personal life because I have like these two worlds, you know. But in terms of, I've become way more private because of the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm very careful about what I post, and I also have gone through the process of trying to disappear. I did this series called How to Disappear, and I've done things in my personal life, like I'm trying now to move my house into a trust so that you separate your house from yourself, and then you make it harder for people to find you. And I'm also like, I've taken a lot of steps to protect my privacy, and I think that's a byproduct of this show for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a question from So Darn Clumsy, and they're saying, how do you maintain neutrality or a sense of rapport with a person when it's revealed that they're an absolute dog? Part of what I love about Pretend is that you don't give away too early how things will shake out.
Well, I try not to be too judgmental when I'm talking to these people, because nobody wants to be talked down to, So I just try my very best, and I'm not like this in my real life. I'm very judgmental in my real life, but like on the show, I'm trying not to judge you. I've interviewed a serial killer on Criminal Conduct, and that was really tough because I knew the crimes that this guy committed, and I tried to have a civil conversation with him, and that was really, really tough. And I just feel like if I'm not judgmental, people will tell me more.
I think, because
that's really hard. But I feel like that's some sort of special skill that I have, because people always mention that, like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I could turn off my judgment off,
All right. Red Hot Dawn says, what would be the top 3 stories or topics you would love to do a long form full season series on? I don't know if that's in general, or whether like you did short ones that you want to expand on, or just in general.
I'm kind of glad that they asked this, because almost a year ago, I remember that I made this like proclamation on Patreon saying that I wanted to try out this new series where it had nothing to do with con artists, but it was like everyone has a story, and I think I was going to call it Speed Dial. And let's say I interview you, Katie, you're the first person. And then at the end of the interview, I say, pull out your phone and let's find somebody on your phone so that I could talk to next. And then I got to go talk to that person. And then after that interview, I got to go talk to somebody on his or her.
Okay. Yeah. I think I vaguely remember.
And so it just keeps going on and on. And I am so nervous about doing that because I want to make sure that I get it right, but I'm also like really scared that I might meet somebody that doesn't have a story and that it's gonna suck. But I really
like redo the chain.
Yeah. But I really want to do this. I'm making a lot of excuses, and now I realize that a year went by and I haven't done it, and I need to do it. So hold me accountable.
Okay,
guys.
In your 30-minute breaks, you can just like phone a random stranger and I can tell you a story.
Exactly.
But I just, one of those things, if you did that with me, and I'd be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards I'll be like, oh, damn, I should have talked about something else.
Right.
But never mind. Okay. Bella Parrot 16 says, what's on the horizon for 2026? Any exciting upcoming projects?
Well, I told you about the psychic one, so that's going to be the first 3 series. And then I started last year a series called The State of Corruption, where I go to, I see different states and how the state government is corrupt in certain cases. And my next state is the state where I live, North Carolina, because we have tons of local corruption, and it's really hard to choose. But yeah, I look out for that one. And then I have a real bonkers story, like like crazy story coming up with a caught on camera confessional, which was, when I heard it, I was like, wow. And it is a very twisty story, so I don't want to give it away. But
Okay,
just
well, that
wait
sounds
to.
interesting.
Yep.
Okay, hang on. I'm just looking for something else now. So I will say we've come to the end of the page. We've asked all the questions on the paper.
Well, that's good.
So
We're almost an hour into this thing.
If there's any that have come, because I can't see the chat. Although I do have 2 questions myself. Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Go for it.
What was the last movie you saw in a movie theater?
Ooh, in a movie theater. I know that I just finished watching one battle after another, but that was in my living room.
Oh yeah, same. It was okay. I won't watch it again. I don't think it's too long.
Yeah,
It was all right.
I love it. I wanted to like it more. In the movie theater. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I can't remember. I'll have to come back to that one.
Oh, because you don't
I
have
need
a lot
to go to the
of
movie
spare
theater.
time.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Also, I saw Anaconda. It was very funny. The new one, not the one from like.
Yeah. Right, the one with Jack Black.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was really funny. Okay, I found
I didn't
another...
see Superman, but I've seen movies since then.
Okay.
I'm just reacting to the chat. Yeah.
Okay, I found another question from H. Quist. What are your pet peeves when listening to a podcast? I guess someone else's podcast.
Too much, not entertaining enough. Like, people are like, either take themselves too seriously, or they just talk too much. I like listening to interviews. I'm like, let the people tell the story, you know? Like, I know I have narration, but I try to keep the narration to a minimum, right? The only time you hear my narration is because I could say it quicker than the subject could, but I would rather listen to people talk. I don't like chatty podcasts either, like people talking the whole time about what they had for breakfast, and like, you know, I don't like that kind of stuff. But yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, if it's boring, I'm out. I'm like, come on, you got to make it entertaining.
Yeah, you haven't got time to waste.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Natalie Vale. Which series of Pretend are you the most proud of?
That's a good question. You know, I really do like the How to Disappear series. I mean, the Frank Abagnale one was, I think the Frank Abagnale one, definitely, probably because of the research. And I haven't done that to that scale again, because it was just like, I know more about this guy's life than I know about my own, you know, like I could like retrace, like,
he can't remember either.
Right. And it was just so much fun working with Alan Logan, the author of, that wrote the book about Frank Abagnale. And we just discovered, I was able to take like the stuff that he did to another level. Yeah, The Greatest Hoax. That's an awesome book, and you marked it up. Yep. I feel like that one's a great podcast. But I recently listened to the How to Disappear series, and I was just like, wow, that was really good and very like informational. That's another thing that when you listen to a podcast. Well, no, not even for me, but I'm like, if you listen to a podcast, and it doesn't have to be my podcast, you should walk away with learning something new, you know? And I was just like, wow, that one, I felt like people could walk away and they learned a lot from it, you know? And I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, although I don't know, that kind of stuff just gives me anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to do all this stuff, and then I just don't do anything. Well, I'll just change my password every once in a while, that's fine. Yeah. But yeah, I'm like, oh, there's too much to think about.
It's too much, yeah, it's very stressful.
But yeah, so I don't know, I try not to let that kind of thing like stress me out too much. Okay, I have another question. Which of these fandom names is the least cringe? Okay. Friends of Pretend, or Pretend Friends. Laver Lovers. Laver Cravers. Javier Heads. Javier Heads, get it? Airheads. Javier Heads.
Oh, yeah. You know that they used to call me that in college. Javier Head. Yeah.
Sorry. I won't say that one again.
And then in elementary school, some guy called me Javier Lava Bubble Bath. So that was pretty cringe, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the same track. Well, the last one was Great Pretenders.
Ooh. There was one that was really cringy, and I already forgot. I repeated it, but it was Javier...
Laver Lovers? Late for Craven?
Yeah, that one's... Yeah, those two. Definitely cringy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the question was which one was the least cringe. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
They were just ones that I thought of in like 5 minutes. So.
That is so funny.
Okay. Has anyone else asked any questions in the chat? Because as I say, I can't see it. So.
Yeah. Somebody, I think it was Rebecca, asked, how did I hear about LaDonna? Actually, that story came to me from another podcaster. Her name is Raven. And for some reason, she couldn't cover the story.
That's so Raven.
Yeah. And I did not believe the LaDonna story at first, just because it sounded so fake. You know, sometimes when it sounds too good to be true, it usually is too good to be true. But that one just checked out. And so I just ran with it. But yeah. And any news about documentaries was another question that Rebecca asked. This is like a personal ambition for me. I would love to start doing documentaries, and I would like to save some stories that instead of putting it on the podcast, like save it for a documentary. And I have made really good relationships with different production companies, and I would love to do documentaries again, because that was a lot of fun.
Okay. Oh, I actually have thought of another question. I've seen you doing like various presentations, around the world. Were you in the UAE or Dubai or something like that recently?
Dubai.
How was that? Was that good?
That was crazy. Yeah. Did I tell people about this? I don't know. But it was
you posted
crazy.
a picture. I don't think I saw a private thing.
Well, I just thought it was really strange that I was invited to go to this hacker conference in Dubai, and I never had any intention of going to Dubai, but I was invited, and I'm like, why not? Let's go. And so they wanted me to talk about the Frank Abagnale story. And I'm like, I asked my contacts several times. I said, because the audience was North Africa and the Middle East. And I wanted to know, first of all, is there going to be a language barrier? And second of all, do they even know who Frank Abagnale is, or Catch Me If You Can? And the woman that I was dealing with was like, don't worry, they know Catch Me If You Can. They love it. And I'm like,
I'm about to destroy that.
Well, no. She wanted me to tell the real story. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And so I get to Dubai, and I'm really nervous, right? Because now the night before the conference, I realized the culture shock. Everybody was like, all the Emiratis was dressed in their white gowns, and I'm like, I still don't know if they're gonna know who I'm talking about. I'm like, how awkward would it be if I get up there for an hour and talk about this guy and nobody had heard of him? So I walk into the room, and sure enough, everyone in the room were Emiratis, dressed in the white gowns, and I'm like, I go up to the stage and I go, how many of you have listened or watched the movie Catch Me If You Can? And most of them raised their hands.
Okay,
and I'm like, thank God. I was like, because otherwise this would be a very long conference. And they loved it. And I actually spoke 3 times, and it was a great conference. It was so surreal to be there. It doesn't seem like a real place, but yeah. Yeah, I have my thoughts about Dubai too. I'm not a big fan of how they run things, but it was cool.
You weren't invited to the comedy festival thing.
No, I was not invited
to. Ground.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about that, but it was interesting to see it.
Yeah.
To see it with my own eyes, because I don't think I would have ever gone there. Otherwise.
Okay, I have another question. You obviously have a really nice podcasting voice. But do you like?
Oh, by the way, I didn't get paid. I didn't get paid for the Dubai thing.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, they just you and you had to pay for your own.
Yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. That
wow.
I did not get millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, sorry.
Go there. You went on your own dime.
No. They paid for the flight.
Okay.
That was it. I just wanted to put that out there, that I did not make millions of dollars. But go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was just talking about your voice and how people love hearing your voice and everything. But do you like the sound of your own voice? Because I like talking, but then I probably won't watch this again because I hate the sound of my own voice.
Well, your voice is awesome.
Really nasally, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's not what I sound like when I talk. I think I sound like. So anyway, what relationship?
Well, because everybody hates the sound of their voice. Mm-hmm. I never loved my look, and I never loved my voice, and that's because everybody, nobody likes looking at themselves on camera and all that. And I had the opportunity to be a reporter, in front of the camera, for local news, and I just always wanted to be behind the scenes. And when I came up with this idea for the podcast, I wanted somebody else to voice it, but I was like, nobody's going to be available to voice it. I'm the one that's available, so I just had to suck it up. And it was so funny. The other day, I aired one of the Word of Faith episodes again.
Yeah.
And I listened to the difference in my voice, and it sounded so dramatic and
I didn't think it sounded
blah,
that
blah,
bad.
I don't know, but it was shocking to me to hear how much my style has changed.
Yeah.
You know?
That was also a good series. I think, was that the first one that you did?
Yeah, I did my cousin first, but I aired the Word of Faith first.
Like that, okay.
Like
and that
the
was like the
very first thing
one.
yeah. But stay tuned, because there is a Word of Faith related episode coming
Oh, good.
as well.
Yeah, that's a good. It's if you haven't heard it, go and listen to it, because it's very good. Yeah.
And I might be traveling out there at the end of the month, because the district attorney for the Word of, that's supposed to be trying the Word of Faith case is on trial himself. They're going to try to determine whether they're going to either remove him from that case or remove him as DA. So that's happening at the end of the month. So I'm probably going to be seeing old friends from the Word of Faith Fellowship.
Hey, were they the ones that also had that restaurant, or was that a different?
Oh yeah. Oh no, that was a different one.
Oh, that's a different one. Yeah. So I was like,
Did
you
I
went there
ever
with
say
somebody,
this?
and it was really funny. I can't remember what that was now.
So I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but I actually took my kids there to eat at the restaurant, because I wanted to observe the restaurant, and I'm like, hey, do you know where we're at? And they're like, no. We're like, we're at a cult restaurant. And they love telling their friends that story. So my dad took me to a cult restaurant. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think my kids would care. It's like, as long as they had like burgers, they were just like not gonna crap. They're like, okay, great. What's a cult? But yeah. Okay.
That was called the Yellow Deli.
And who was that again? What was the? I can't remember who the.
I can't remember. Okay. I might get it wrong if I say.
Yeah. But I think you went with a friend, and I just remember because you were both like quite nervous about being there, and then it was just like a regular restaurant.
Yeah.
And
it was just a regular restaurant. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Okay, well, as I say, I've finished the questions on the list. So if anyone,
I think that's pretty solid. That was like an hour's worth of questions. And by the way, I hate talking about myself, right? So like, this is cool that we did this. It's a once in a blue moon type of thing.
Oh, in case anyone's wondering, why don't you tell them what that blue thing you're holding is?
Oh yeah, my toys. So for those of you who are watching the live, I broke my arm not too long ago. Here's the scar. Got a giant plate on broke my radius, and so I've been doing a lot of physical therapy and exercises. And so this is my finger stretching thing. This is the little donut thing where I like squeeze, but I love my toys now. I was showing Katie my toys before this live.
I didn't see that finger stretching one before. I don't think I would have brought it up.
Oh, I didn't get to it.
First time.
So this is my my blue putty, which is kind of cool. That's fun. But then I graduated to the green putty, which the physical therapist says I never give away the green putty because it's a lot harder. So I just squeeze this all day, and I'm just trying to regain my strength. So I have a lot of mobility, but I still can't lift more than like 5 pounds. So I'm constantly playing around with these toys. So I apologize for that. I've kind of forgot that I do that now. I just do it out of habit.
Yeah.
But Katie, thank you so much. I think you rocked this thing. I know I reached out to you out of the blue, and you were so kind to say yes to doing this, but I think you actually did an awesome job. So I'm so glad.
Can I just give a quick plug? Because my friend will. Right, first of all, if she's still here, I will say hi, Katrina. If you're still here, I don't know. But also, as I say, I write scripts for a YouTuber called Simon Whistler, and another writer for him is called Dave Page, who's also known as Blind Dave because he's blind and his name is Dave. He has a YouTube channel called Blind Dave, and I'm a guest on a semi-regular set of YouTube videos, and it's called Only in the UK. And I said I would mention it. It's not particularly popular.
Well, I'll definitely include it.
Oh, thank you. It's
included in the
just,
show notes too. Yeah.
a load of people. It's only tangentially related to the UK at this point. But yeah, we just talk about whatever. So.
Well, that's awesome, Katie. I think I struck out. So now you're a regular on 2 different shows. So you're always welcome to come back here. And thank you so much. And hopefully we can do this again with other Patreon supporters. And hopefully, if anybody's listening and knows how to do YouTube lives without screwing them up all the time, I would love your help. But I really thought it was going to work this time. I really did. I felt so confident. But...
Well, it did eventually.
It worked, yeah. We hacked it. Thank you for everyone who hung around with the technical difficulties and also was interacting in chat. It was so much fun. I feel like we're hanging out. It's kind of like when we do those Patreon episode drops. Those are like the highlight for me. Like,
oh yeah,
watching it or listening to the episode with all my Patreon supporters. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And stay tuned because the new series, season 25, could you believe that? Season 25 begins next week. So stay tuned for that. Katie, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for asking me.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to end the stream now. Take care, guys.
Bye.